Thank you for joining me once again for another episode of Loretta Live. Today, we're filming from the home of the Panthers, Chapman University, of course, my alma mater. Today, we're going to explore an issue that has affected thousands of families in Orange County, and in my district in particular, which is this foreclosure crisis. We're going to talk to experts that are protecting our families from housing scams and those who assist families through the difficult process by working with banks to help save homes. So we're going to start with our first guest, Peter Pierce, who is from the Orange County District Attorney's Office, and he works on all of this scam stuff going on. So Peter, welcome to Loretta Live.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about what you do and how you do it.
Okay. Within the Orange County District Attorney's Office, for the last 2 years, my boss, Tony Rakakis, put together a team of, we now have 3 to 4 DAs and a support staff that do nothing but investigate and prosecute mortgage and real estate fraud. And the task force or the team has been in existence now for almost 2 years, coinciding roughly with the housing collapse and the mortgage financial crisis, beginning in the summer of 2009.
Okay, so your job really is sort of somebody comes to you and tells you, I think I've been scammed, and you actually go after the bad guys. Most of the time you probably aren't really able to help the person who alerted you to the problem that happened, but you're trying to shut down these people from being able to do this again. Am I correct?
Yes, that's right. That's exactly right, Congresswoman. Primarily, we're involved as the DA, as the state, we're involved in prosecuting, litigating criminal litigation against the bad guys, against the criminals in the state court. Of course, the U.S. Attorney's Office coincides and we work with them, and then they perhaps will go ahead and prosecute at the federal level as well. We also work with administrative agencies like at the state level, the Department of Real Estate, the DRE, which can potentially take away licenses of people that are mortgage brokers or real estate licensees that are doing something wrong. But you're right, we're not so much involved in helping our victims, but we can at least point them in the right direction. And we obviously need the victims' cooperations in the criminal prosecutions.
So what you really want to do is shut down the bad guys from doing it again, over and over again. And what we see is that these criminals are incredibly smart. I mean, if you shut them down in one area, the next thing you know, they're opening up a new business and doing some sort of new scam. And we see sort of as people get more desperate about trying to keep their homes, they start to listen to some of these newspaper ads or TVs or radio, or I've seen just even sort of these posters posted in neighborhoods, you know, if you're losing your house, come talk to me. So tell me some of the types of things that you see happening. What are the most common ways of somebody to say, oh my God, I shouldn't even get near that?
Well, beginning when we put together the team in the summer of 2009, the focus primarily at that point was on loan modification fraud. Now, the state legislature has passed some laws to strengthen the criminal prosecutions and make it more difficult, but it certainly has not, it's helped abate it, but it hasn't eliminated loan modification fraud. So certainly that existed and still exists. As you point out, as the criminals, as we focus on one particular crime or one particular scam and try to shut that down, the criminals, the intelligent criminal then goes to another kind of scam. So the focus still is on loan modification fraud. We're now also focusing on short sale fraud, since a lot of people are involved, have made the decision that they want to try to negotiate with their lender a short sale, and then scammers or criminals come in and try to trick them into, you know, with fraudulent fees and whatnot in the process of doing a short sale.
So are they coming in and saying, I'm your bank, let me help you do the short sale? Or they're coming in and saying, I can get the bank to do the short sale if you pay me some money up front?
Typically the second, and in reality what they do is the criminal will set himself up as a short sale specialist, and then they'll either approach the home buyer who's trying to short sale his home directly, or they'll also approach legitimate real estate agents who are trying to negotiate and say, I can help negotiate a short sale on behalf of your client with the bank. And I should say that just because somebody says they're a short sale specialist, that doesn't necessarily mean they're a criminal, but there are certain things you want to look for when somebody puts themselves out as a short sale specialist.
Well, let's say I want to short sale my house. Where should I go to look for somebody who knows how to do that?
Well, for starters, we would recommend, and again, we're involved more in the process of actually prosecuting the bad guys. But as a client or as a home buyer that wants to look at that focus, first you should try to contact your lender directly, and then you should also seek there are many legitimate nonprofits. OC Hopseed comes to mind since we work with them as far as getting referrals. There are plenty of nonprofits who, for no cost whatsoever, will help you try to negotiate a loan modification.
So I want you to say that again, because most people don't understand this. The federal government, I have voted for funds to give to some of these nonprofits, like the Orange County Housing Organization, who will actually, if you call them, will actually call you in for a meeting, ask you to bring all your paperwork, go through it to check and see what sort of a situation you're in, and then sort of give you a list of, you can do this, no, you're not going to be able to do that, here's how it's going to affect you, maybe we can help you do this. That's all for free, right? This is actually available for free.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Because a lot of times people think they have to pay in order to be able to get that service.
And in fact, that's sort of an instant red flag, is if any person or institution is asking for fees up front, either to do a loan modification or to do a short sale, to help negotiate a short sale, or to do a forensic audit, or even now we're seeing also unscrupulous attorneys trying to market mass litigation against the lenders. Again, there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but an instant red flag is to ask for upfront fees. The other thing, obviously, when getting back to short sales, is you want to make sure that if somebody says, I'm a short sale specialist, you want to make sure whether or not that person is licensed with the California Department of Real Estate, the DRE. If they're not licensed as a real estate agent or as a short sale specialist, that's another instant red flag.
Is there a short sale specialist label from the real estate agent, or is there, by asking around, you can usually find an agent who's done a lot of short sales in your area, right? That's probably the best referral.
Right, that's exactly right. There isn't, my understanding is there's not per se a short sale designation by the DRE. However, if somebody is putting himself out as a short sale specialist, they probably should be a licensed real estate agent with the DRE.
Great. Well, Peter, I want to thank you. I know that the work you do is very difficult and that you really need people, first of all, if they've been scammed, to come forward so they can stop, so you can stop people from scamming other people. And we really need people's participation. But I think the most important thing we heard from you is don't write any checks, don't give money to anybody, go to some of these nonprofits and get this done for free.
Exactly.
Great. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you, Peter. Thanks so much for being with us. Thank you for staying with us. Our next guest runs a housing organization that probably has helped one of your friends or family member, someone you know, work through the foreclosure process. Glenn Hayes is president and CEO of the Neighborhood Housing Services Orange County, NHS-OC. Glenn, welcome to Loretta Live.
Oh, I'm very pleased to be here, Loretta.
Right. So, Glenn, you and I have known each other for a while because we've been in the trenches working on this whole issue of people's mortgages and people's homes and foreclosure, and we've really seen this thing happen now for the last 5 or 6 years. So tell us a little bit about what your organization has done traditionally, what it's doing to help people who are trying to stay in their homes. And after we finish with that, we'll talk about maybe potential new buyers.
Okay. Well, that Neighborhood Housing Services has been around for over 30 years. Started out as actually a couple of neighborhood associations, one in La Habra and one in Santa Ana. But over the past 15 years, we've really concentrated on helping first-time home buyers through education, lending products, and to get into that first home. And we're very proud of the fact that very, very few of those people that we got into homes got caught up in this mess with the foreclosures.
Right, and I recall, because I know I've had some of my friends go through. I mean, I take it for granted because I've got a finance background and I know how mortgages work and what you're supposed to look for in homes and all the paperwork. But most people, buying their home is really a scary thing. I mean, I've had a couple girlfriends take Pepto-Bismol bottles with them. And so I do know that one of the great things you do is to teach people really, are they ready to buy a home? What should they be looking for and how they go through the process? But you've sort of had to divert a little bit in the last 3 or 4 years and really trying to even help people stay in their homes. What types of things have you guys been able to help people with?
Yes, we really have diverted, although we continue to do the first-time homebuyer education and products, but we have really expanded and do counseling for people facing foreclosure or
And
having
does it
problems.
cost money to go and see you?
Absolutely not.
Who's been
it's a free
funding
service.
you guys?
Well, thanks to the federal government and people like you who have championed these programs, there is no charge for our services. I'd like to add that in addition to those federal funds, we have charitable contributions from a number of our partners, which include the major banks, and they're also our partners in trying to get the best services to our clients.
Because Peter Pierce was telling us earlier, and as did several other people, that banks want to try to work this thing out. If you're sitting in a home and they can figure out a way in which to keep you in it, if you got your job, if you've gotten a new job or what have you. So is that one of the things that people can come to you for? Let's say they just really don't know how to do this. They're scared to go and talk to their bank about a loan modification. Do you have specialists who might be able to help with that?
Yes, we have. We actually have 4 full-time counselors, and that we have Vietnamese language, Spanish language, and also available. And yes, call us up and make an appointment, and we will we're very, very pleased to work through that situation. And
Great.
We've helped over 1,500 families now.
So 1,500 families to work through what's going on with their home.
Right.
Well,
Now,
that's great. That's a good thing to know. But now let's get to more positive things. So because the housing market, the prices have come down, that means, and there's a lot of supply out there, we heard this from others, what does that mean for the new home buyer? What are you doing, and how do people get in contact with you if they might have a little nest egg saved up and they do have a steady job? How are they going to access the housing market?
Okay, and that's, like I said, that's our traditional specialty, and we have an 8-hour class for people who are potential home buyers, first-time home buyers, and we bring in experts from the field, and really it's home buying 101, and that if you spend that 8 hours there, you'll know about the home buying process and not get caught up in any of these frauds that are out there.
So you teach people how to budget, how to know what it's really going to cost them on a monthly basis for the home, what kind of a loan to be looking for, what your credit score means, how you can clean up your credit score. Are those the types of things that
all of those things. And when you finish this course, this session, and some individual counseling on the side, it makes you eligible for some of the special programs that the banks have for first-time home buyers.
And what kind of programs are those?
Well, they're reduced down payment, sometimes interest rates a little bit less, because they know that this is an educated home buyer and they're not going to have problems with this person in the future. So,
in the mix that you're seeing right now of people coming or calling, is it more of, oh my God, I'm losing my home, help me, help me, help me, Glenn? Or is it more like, hey, I think the prices are down there, I heard you guys do a good job, can I get into class and come and learn how to be a homeowner?
No, it's both sides. We're still having lots of people come through on the foreclosure side and needing help there. But on the other side, with the prices being down and so on, we're seeing an increase in people in at least inquiring and going through our classes. So I'm hopeful. I know that people that you've talked to earlier think that this is going to take a long time to recover, and it may. But I think it's a great time for first-time home buyers. It's not an investment. They're buying a home. They're going to stabilize, be in a stable neighborhood. That helps them, it helps their children, and it helps the community, because that stable neighborhoods are worth more, and there are fewer foreclosures because you can sell a home in a stable neighborhood.
So at the federal level, as you know, we had 3 or 4 or 5 different programs where we were sending monies down to stabilize neighborhoods, where we're giving monies to groups like yours to help homeowners who are facing eviction or foreclosure, to educate them to figure out what to do. Recently, in the last month or so, in the House side at least, the Republicans took a vote to eliminate all of that and get rid of those programs because they said they didn't work and people really didn't need them. So now, where are you turning to sort of get the funds that you need to try to help people in that arena?
Yeah. Well, we are going and asking the banks to step up more to the plate, and it's in their best interest. I mean, when a house goes through foreclosure, they lose from $30,000 to $50,000 just through that process, and so it's in their best interest. But we also need these federal programs to be extended, because we have at least another year of this people working through the foreclosure process. So.
Now, we just recently were able to go over to your place, and I think there was something like a grant of $300,000 that came to you to help some of these people.
Yes, and we very much appreciate that. That's through the NeighborWorks America, which is our national affiliate, and they're also working with other nonprofits for the foreclosure prevention counseling program. So we are very, very appreciative of that, and it's going to keep us moving.
So once you work with somebody and you figure out you can save their home and you can't, and I know that we've held forums in different areas of our district where we've put the banks in there, we've had the DA if there's been fraud, we've had the IRS to talk about the tax implications, etc. of that. So once you find a person, are you sort of the person that tells them, okay, you got to go talk to this guy at the IRS, you got to go talk to this guy at the DA's office? Are you sort of like the glue that kind of directs people to where they should be going?
Well, to a certain extent, but we're going to actually work with them. We're going to take the application and submit it to the bank for them and with them.
Great.
And
do you have like an 800 number or something that maybe we can pass off to people
if
they're
interested?
interested?
We have a 714 number,
okay.
714-490-1250, and just ask.
And ask for Glenn.
Ask for Roberto.
I want to thank you again for being such a willing partner over the last decade with us to make sure that people actually stay in their homes or get a new home. And thanks for all the hard work that you do, Glenn.
And thank you, Loretta, because you've been a friend of our organization for all these years, and we very much appreciate that.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to Loretta Live. On today's show, we've tackled the foreclosure crisis, and with us now is Ramon Quintanillo, a person who's actually lived through what might have happened if his home was lost. And so he's from Garden Grove. He's right here, one of our residents, and we're going to talk to him about our story. So thank you, Ramon, for being with us today and for being willing to share your story so that people out there understand that there is some hope, but that they have to get up and get to it in order to try to save their home. So give us a little indication. What happened? What happened in your life?
First of all, thank you for inviting me. I know this is very important. I just always wanted to get the word out and let people know that there is hope. There's people that are willing to help us. Basically, the whole thing started when I lost my job 2 years ago, which I can tell you, it was so sad. It was really bad because I've been working for the Santa Ana Unified School District for so many years. And I never thought it was going to happen because I had gone through all my probation periods. So I had a permanent job. I thought I had my whole life together, got my house, my family in place, so no problem. All I had to do was kind of work every day and done.
And you loved your work,
Absolutely.
You loved what you were doing. You felt you're stable. Your kids were growing up. Everything was good. You had bought your home. And you never envisioned that somehow you would be laid off and there wouldn't be a job somewhere for you to get.
All I do in my life is teach. Taught that computer for 10 years, and from there I moved on to teaching for the San Ana School District. And I thought everything is together. I mean, I'm doing what is right, what every citizen is supposed to do. Right? And suddenly, I don't know what they hit me with these letters telling me I lost my job. I knew I had a mortgage to pay. I had a family to take care of. And I knew there were times that it was going to be really tough for me to deal with situations. So believe me, what I did was really extreme. I set myself on a hunger strike in front of the district office for 5 days straight until the administrators came out and said, you know what, we had enough. We're going to give you a job. We need you to get out of our office. And I did. I mean, you know, that's what I wanted. I wanted my job back. That's what I was counting on.
Mm-hmm.
But believe me, we had to go to the extreme, and I had to do that with the support of the union. So I came the next year, went back to work on a part-time basis. I realized that all they were offering was a part-time job. So from a full-time job to a part-time job, still said at least I have a job.
At least you had a job, but now you weren't getting obviously as much money as you were before. Your mortgage was based on the old amount of money you made. Now you had a job, but you were getting probably half as much. And usually in a part-time job, you also have other expenses that aren't paid for, like benefits and things of that sort. But you've got a job. You're thankful you have a job because you see a lot of people losing their jobs. And yet you're going to fall behind on your mortgage payments.
I did, and not only that, but the fact is that I have picked I have been offered a pick-up payment plan, which again, because of the fact that I'm a legally blind person, I couldn't read the whole contract agreement that I was getting into. I ask every question because that's what I do. Since I know that I cannot read everything at some point, well, I ask as many questions as I can ask. And obviously, my real estate agent was not able to provide me with the small details of these contracts. And when I lost my job, even though I got a part-time job again, I realized that my $1,400 payment became suddenly, I don't know, where a $2,600 payment.
So your payment had a clause where you went from $1,400 to $2,600, which a lot of people are seeing. They didn't realize when they signed the document. Some people just didn't know. Some people were kind of fooled. Some people weren't disclosed everything as you were. And so all of a sudden you find that your payment is even higher and the amount of money coming into your household is less. So what'd you do?
I tried to negotiate with the bank. I contacted the bank so many times, and they kept on giving me the runaround. They said they were going to work on it with me, but that never happened. So I contacted finally an organization which is called NACA, the National Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America.
Mm-hmm.
And they did work on it. They submitted a proposal to the bank. They told them this is the situation with this young man. I mean, he lost his job. He's got a part-time job, but this is what he can do. This is what he can afford. And they kept on giving it a runaround again.
So even when you went to a nonprofit who was used to working on this stuff and they put together a good proposal of what, you know, your circumstance really was, and they submitted it, the bank still was not
still
really
giving
working
it
with
around. And they were the one who actually told me, you know what, it's time for you to do something else. So here are your Congress people. You need to start working on it. And like I said, I have already contacted the president. I contacted the president 3 times. I wrote letters to him. I contacted our former governor too. And no response whatsoever.
So you wrote the president, you wrote the governor, no response. You're talking to the bank, they're giving you the runaround. Then what did you do?
The response that I got, I always have faith. And when I contacted your office, it was like an immediate response. It was like about a week. A week after I sent that letter, one of your local representatives contacted me and he said, what is the situation? And I discussed it with him. His name, I believe, is Carlos Urquiza. A very nice person, by the way. He immediately jumped on it. He contacted one of the top officers from the bank, and I know that that person was the one getting in touch constantly with the NACA organization, because it took me from 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 p.m. and one of those events from the organization to get it through. Not eating, not taking lunch, nothing. I wasn't working. They just told me you had to wait. You had to wait until we get it done. But I know it was the person that was contacted through your office that was there negotiating with them, with me, with the NACA representative, the bank representative, and then online until we got it through.
So this is some of the things that happen. Sometimes we hold a forum in our area, and we invite the banks, and we invite people to come in and bring their documents, etc. And in some cases, we work all day. Not we, because we're not really part of the party. We just put the parties together to try to do this. In this particular case, you did the right thing. We actually don't do the work. We usually we contact and we put people together with specialists in this that are not going to charge you. And you had done that, and they had made a proposal to the bank, and at that point the bank wasn't moving anything. So then the right thing to do was to come back to us and say, can you talk to the bank and see why they're not moving this? And I think in this case Carlos was able to call and say, listen, you know, we need a response on this because it's a good proposal, it's an honest proposal, it's what's going on. So you actually didn't get lunch that day, but aren't you glad that your proposal was finally worked out and you were able to get on a new mortgage payment plan so you could stay in your home?
Absolutely. That was my goal. My goal was just to be able to go back to my stuff so I can concentrate on my job and get that out of the way. And I know that your office had everything to do with it. There was no way at all that I was going to get it done by myself. There was no way, not even the organization that was helping me. They understood, you know, they're not helping us. There's something right here that's going on and we need to go to the stream. So this is when we decided, you know, we had to call our representatives and see what they can do about it. And
great.
Like
well,
I said,
I'm glad that it worked out for you. I'm really, really happy for you. And you know, it takes a lot. I'm glad that you've come on to the show to talk to people about what the problem was and how it happened. A lot of people are embarrassed. You know, a lot of people are embarrassed and they don't want to tell friends. They don't want to talk to anybody. A lot of people think that government is not good and that somehow there's never going to be anything that we can do for them. A lot of people don't even contact their banks. They just think, well, it's a done deal. I'm just going to stay in the house until the day the sheriff comes and pulls me out. But your story really gives people an indication of what we would like them to do. If you are having a problem, the most important thing you can do is to do something about it. Don't deny it. The longer you wait, the harder it is to try to help you. Secondly, if you contact our office, we're going to put you in touch with one of these organizations who really do the specialist thing. I know a lot of times people call my office and they say, oh, I need to talk to Loretta. I need to talk to Loretta. You know, the answer is the people that I have in my office, they're doing this all day long for people. So they're really the people you need to talk to, and then they will contact or give you the names of the organization. Sit down with the organization. These people work miracles. And then if there's a problem, we get involved again. What we want to do is try to keep people in their homes like we were able to do with you, Ramon. And again, the most important thing is don't be afraid. So, well, that's it for today. I want to thank you for tuning in to today's show, and I hope that we were able to shed some light on how the foreclosure crisis continues to affect our community and some of the local resources that you can contact for assistance. Please do not hesitate to contact my office. The number in Garden Grove is 714-621-0102. Thank you for tuning in. Until the next time.